and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, internationally and nationally known for the last 30 years as the Money Lady. And as always, my commitment to you as my viewers is to bring you the best of the best in the area of finance, education, and people that are doing this for livelihood and are making impact, with the ultimate goal of empowering you and your family to prosper financially so that you will not be making decisions that have long-range negative impact, and so that you can live, as the scriptures say, abundantly. And that is my commitment. So today is no exception. I have an extraordinary guest today for the next hour. So just have a seat and relax and get comfortable because, again, another remarkable person is a part of my world. Today, my guest is LaRonda Lucky, who happens to be a property and casualty insurance broker. And if you're like me, property and casualty, which is cars, automobile, boats, motorcycles, everything in the area of fixed assets. That's an area that a lot of us have a difficult time understanding what's involved, what's not involved. So I'm going to introduce you to my guest. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about her, and then we're going to get into the meat of the show today where we talk about casualty insurance, another area of managing your risk. And I got to talk to you about this issue of insurance before shifting to her. You're going to find her fascinating. Insurance is managing your risk, okay? It's as simple as that. It's not complicated. Everybody needs it, whether it's car insurance to protect you in case you're in an accident and you cause harm to someone else or to yourself and your vehicles, or house insurance if you get a fire or if you have problems, or even business insurance and commercial insurance. There's all kinds of asset-based insurance products that are available today. Many people think just life insurance, but it's so much more to this field than that. Again, it's about managing risk and not being the fall guy, meaning letting an insurance company handle that risk for you and spread the risk among many, many people so that you don't have to pay probably what you would have had to pay if it was you yourself. That's called self-insurance. So again, without a lot of further commentary, I'm going to get into the show. How are you, Miss Lucky?
I'm great. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, delighted to have you
Thank
here.
you.
Let me, I must confess, when I read your resume, I was impressed.
Well, thank you.
First, speaking of your background, that you've been a business owner since 2001
Yes.
in the Dayton, Ohio market, and you founded LFL Insurance Agency from scratch.
Yes.
That's impressive. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's got to be some alpha female stuff going on with
Yeah.
that one. Oh, yeah. That you represent a number of carriers: Erie Insurance, Travelers, Picken, Safeco, Progressive, Anthem, Humana. And you are Dayton, Ohio's only African-American female-owned agency.
Yes, ma'am.
Whew,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
I feel you, Miss Lucky.
Yeah.
I don't even have to ask you what your story has been like and
Okay.
what you've had to go through to do well in the world of business.
Yes, ma'am.
Business is not a joke.
No, it is not.
I know people really don't understand when they look at self-employed people versus a corporate animal. I tell people in the corporate world you have to deal with the politics of that company. When you're self-employed, you have to deal with the politics of the people.
Yes.
And they're all over the place.
Yes.
Every day, every day. Some of the things you've done that I thought were just amazing. You're a member of the Dayton Rotary Club, the National Council of Negro Women. You volunteer with a number of organizations that benefit women and children. That's my heart. You need to know
Okay.
that, women and children, including the African American Women's Giving Circle, hat model for the Crown Jewels Project, which raises money for mammograms, that you're involved with the Dayton, Cincinnati, and Trotwood Chambers of Commerce. That's business. And that your passion continues to be to develop your strengths as an African American business owner, as well as to network with other African American businesses. We have a couple of friends that we both know well as a part of NAIA, which is the National African American Insurance Association, of which you have been a president.
Yes.
That is remarkable.
Yes.
Ron Todd, Gerald Tillman, the chairman. Good lady.
Thank you.
You also write for the Dayton Weekly News. I love Don.
Yes.
And he told me you're an awesome lady.
Thank
so
you.
I just honored to have you here. And let's get into a little bit about what got you started in this particular specialty of risk management.
Well, it all started at Metropolitan Life.
Okay.
And Property and Casualty down on 741. I started there in customer service.
Okay.
And
that's a good
at
place
that
to
time,
start.
yes, because you learned how the property and casualty world works as far as personal lines. So the auto insurance, renter's insurance, motorcycles, you learned how policy coverages read, how they work, and you took calls. It was a call center.
Okay.
And so you took calls for about 40 states at that time. So if a mom calls in and says, my daughter just got her temp permit to drive, do I need to add her? Well, in Ohio, no. In other states, it's yes. So you had to be able to answer all those types of questions.
Okay.
Ohio is a liability state. Michigan is a no-fault state. So you have to know what happens in the event of a collision and you're in a different state. So we didn't have to memorize it, but we had to know where to go get it. So that's how my insurance career began, yes.
Oh, my goodness. What good training.
That's how my career began.
Okay.
So I kind of conquered that and wanted to do something else. So I decided I wanted to be an agent. So I went and tested, passed, got the licenses for property and casualty, life and health, and then I went to work for MetLife as an agent.
Okay.
Didn't do that very long. Decided I wanted to go work for an independent broker such as myself.
Okay.
Didn't survive at that because that was a straight commission.
I know.
You don't sell, you don't
eat. I know that. That's ugly.
So
that's
I could
ugly.
not.
Yeah.
I didn't survive, so I left.
Okay.
Went and sold Yellow Page advertising for Ellen Berry.
Okay.
For about 10 years.
Okay.
And so in that time, they had been purchased by Bell South. We had a contract with Sprint. So I kind of had the best of all these worlds while they were in negotiations.
Okay.
So there might be a holiday that Bell South observed that the Berry Company didn't, and we got it anyway.
Oh, that's marvelous.
So that's where my sales skill was honed in and trained, and I began to understand how to offer someone something. You don't have the right to offer it if they didn't ask for it. You don't have the right to extend it if there's no need. So I kind of learned about selling from them. And then I decided, well, I want to be a business owner. So in 2001, I said, well, what do I know? And I said, well, I do know insurance.
Yes.
So I went back to the state.
Customer service, too.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Went back to the state Department of Insurance, petitioned for my license, sat for the exams all over again.
Okay.
And at that time, that's when I started LFL Insurance.
Wow.
Had no idea that being an independent agent was as challenging as it was. I probably would have gotten scared and not done it.
Right.
I went in blindly.
Right. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think I did too.
Because I had no idea. I worked at Met and selling came easy. There was a product. But when you're independent, property casualty carriers don't really know what kind of business you're going to bring them.
Right.
So they're very concerned. You know, if I write an account, some auto insurance this morning, that person is covered. They are bound because that company gave me binding authority. They could cause a 10-car pileup this evening.
And then the company has to pay.
And it could be thousands and thousands of dollars. They have to pay that claim. So they're looking to me to bring them the kind of business that they want.
Goodness.
And so that has been, you get a lot of no's. You go to approach a company and say, I've got a license, I'm excited, I've got energy, I've got great people. Can I have a contract to write business? And they say no. They say, go get about $1 million in revenues and let us see what kind of business you're able to write.
And you know what, LaRonda,
Yes.
if you do get $1 million in revenue, you're not calling them.
Correct.
Exactly.
Exactly. So it took several years for me to get the opportunities. I started probably Progressive and AIG and Foremost and companies like that before I started to get the larger companies that I really wanted, which is your Erie and your Travelers.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that list. I'm like, oh, my
Yes.
goodness, LaRonda, you are not playing.
No.
Those are years of work to establish that type of credibility.
Yes.
People really don't understand how this business works.
No,
Which
they
is
don't.
we're just little fish.
Yes.
And these boys, these insurance companies,
Yes.
woo-wee, they're big boys.
And I spend a lot of time probably teaching and coaching, which is what I think is my competitive advantage if I had
Okay.
to have one. Because I tell every client, you won't win the game if you don't know the rules.
Hoo-wee. You
You'll
can't
make the
even
same
play the
mistakes.
game
No.
if you don't know the rules
No.
of engagement.
No, they feel paying a premium is all they need to do. And I'm like, no, I need you to disclose information to me because I'm presenting you to this insurance company that's never going to meet you.
Right.
They are never going to meet you. I am going to meet you, and they're depending on me to give them the type of risk that they want. And I always tell them I'm independent, which means I work for you.
And that I think is so powerful, which is why you're on my show.
Okay.
Because I am not interested in people that only represent a company.
Okay.
The captive agents, Allstate and State Farm, and those traditional Nationwide, those people only represent the position of that one carrier. So if a person is declined from that carrier, that other person cannot do anything.
Oftentimes they can't.
They're just kind of out there. So I was very, very much impressed by the fact that you were a broker, because I'm a broker on the insurance side and the annuity side. And I will tell you, it's taken me years to build up a roster of carriers, top-rated A-plus companies, because you have to be proven. People don't understand. You have to be proven before they will take a look at you. And in property and casualty, that's so huge. I mean, when you think about that. So what did you do? You did, and when you first started out, how did you get your business?
I knocked on doors.
Oh, you did a door knocker. Okay.
I would order food for my sons. I have 2 sons, and we're going through the drive-through at McDonald's, and I'd send my $20 bill in to pay for dinner, and I'd send 4 or 5 business cards in.
Thank you.
It wouldn't matter to me if they threw them on the floor or threw them in the trash. I mean, they cost pennies. So I just needed everyone to know what I do. I never harassed people. I didn't bug them. I didn't remind them. I just wanted them to know what I do. And if they felt like it, just give me an opportunity.
That is so powerful. And from all that hard work, did your kids get engaged as well?
No, absolutely not. My oldest son works in manufacturing in Middletown, and my youngest is going into junior year at Ohio University.
Well, good for you. Good for you.
But neither one. They helped. They stuffed envelopes. We did mailers, calendars, everything I needed. It's a family affair.
I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that they saw their mother work hard.
Oh, yes. Long hours.
Yeah, long hours. My kids, I have 3, and they were engaged in my company. I started my company in 1982.
Okay.
That's 30-something years now. But they were so integral to my motivation. Because as a single mother, I kept saying, I got to do it. I got to make it happen for my children. I want so much more for them. And they saw the hard work. As my son said, I think I'm going to get a job, Mom. I'm going to do corporate. I don't want to. This is too hard. And I told him it is hard, but it's the only way I had the freedom to do activities with them when they were growing up. I told them, we enjoy life that people that work 9 to 5 don't enjoy. We can actually take time and do some things together. But I appreciate the fact that your boys were involved in helping you.
And they still send me referrals.
Oh, my gosh.
Or they'll say, Mom, you need to come to this game because Mr. So-and-so is here, and he owns a concrete company, and he might get a quote, so they keep, they always
so wonderful,
make sure that I'm out front. Some of the evenings, that long nights is very challenging. Sometimes you feel like you're just not getting it or you're failing. And there were some times when I just really had to hold it all in because I didn't want them to not be entrepreneurs if they wanted to. So I didn't want them to see all the bad parts. So I tried to hold it in. But then there were times when I had to let them know I lost an account for this reason, and I would be honest. And so, I think that the best lessons are taught through honesty and full disclosure.
My God, that's really where that whole legacy principle that I'm such a proponent of, which is everything you do is about your family, your children, your grandchildren, and on down. And that they actually do watch you carefully and closely. And if they see that even with the challenges, you're still incredibly happy and passionate, that makes a statement to them. Because children really do want to see their parents happy. So I share with people, just as a side conversation, that stop coming in from a bad day at work saying you hate your job. And a lot of people say that, I hate my job, I hate this person. And I'm like, you shouldn't do that around your children.
Yes.
You shouldn't, because then there's going to come a point in life when they're going to replicate your behavior.
They are.
They're going to be coming in talking about, I hate my job.
Yes.
And you're going to say, where'd that come from? And I'm going to say, it came from you.
Yes.
You're the one that put that negative out to those children.
And your behavior, your character.
Yes.
I'm LaRonda Lucky. I'm people's insurance agent.
Uh-huh.
So I wear that. It doesn't come on and off. I'm not on vacation and then I get to be silly willy-nilly.
Yeah.
I am always on camera. In my lifestyle,
yes,
everything, and you have to be okay with that. And so
I've
let my sons know.
Yeah.
You never know who's watching you. You could be in line buying a milkshake at UDF, and the president of some university or some company is there, and he might be impressed by your behavior.
Yes.
So I do let them know, as a business owner, you're always up front. You're always on stage.
It is so true. I'm so happy to hear you say that.
I try to watch my mouth and my behavior.
Yes. What have been, and we'll get into the meat of the different types of insurance, what people need to be aware of, but I'm just absolutely curious and fascinated with your life story and the fact that you have been able to maintain as an African-American woman in this very brutal and competitive field. It is a brutal field.
It is.
And again, viewers probably are not aware of what you are going through in terms of your business and quotes. Have you ever been turned down? Have you submitted to a carrier and had to submit to another carrier?
Yes, often.
Often.
And I just let it roll off my back. And I figure the larger I build it, they'll come to me and they'll want me to represent them. So I just take it in stride. I've been turned down I've been turned down more than I've received.
Really?
You know, it's
based on what?
Yes.
Credit or
no? Based
with the people
on
bar.
If you're new, you've got to pay your dues.
Jeez.
And that company, they're putting a lot of stock in you. You know, you write somebody a policy with $500,000 limits, and their premium is $80. That's a heck of a trade-off.
That is
in insurance,
real trade-off.
It's about trading a risk.
Right.
So I'd give you $80 if you put $500,000 up for me. And I got in a bad argument with my wife, and so I tend to drive angry, and now this insurance company is driving up the street with me.
Yes.
And they've got $500,000
on you,
on me, and I gave them $80.
Right.
So insurance companies, agents have to really represent that company, and so it's tough. And so sometimes, you know, when you're a minority and you need that break, you need this company to know this is the type of business I'm going to go get. And then if they give you the chance and you don't go get it, they'll cancel your contract.
They will.
Yes,
for non-performance.
we have objectives. Yes, you've got to meet the performance objective. Your clients can't file too many claims because that comes back against you.
Yes.
It's a tough game. It's the grace of God that I've been able to do it, and I know that about Him, and I know that it's only because of Him that I've been able to do this.
I am so encouraged to hear you say that, because on my side of the fence with the life insurance, the biggest shift I've seen is carriers are getting more and more particular about who they want to insure.
Yes.
And I do share with people, and I'll ask you about this, they do a credit, they do a criminal, they do a personal interview in many cases.
Yes.
They will check your medical history. That's right up front, Medical Information Bureau.
Yes.
And if you get speeding tickets, they're going to check your traffic and your driving record. This is for life insurance.
You might be in an accident and kill yourself.
Kill yourself. That's exactly right. And so they do all this. And I'm telling you, it's not a slam dunk.
No.
At all. And I share with consumers, you need to cut it out. You need to live a conservative life. Stop taking selfies and putting them on Facebook and doing all that stuff. Live a life that would make you a good risk.
Well, there are companies that it is a slam dunk.
Okay.
But that's an expensive dunk.
I bet it is.
So when they take adverse risks like that, you're paying for it.
Right.
So when you see all the commercials, and we'll take anybody, and guaranteed acceptance, and guaranteed insurable, and all of that, you're paying for it. The companies that are going to give you the great rates, the great service at the time of a claim, those companies are particular. But if you're willing to just be accepted, we can find that too as agents.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing is just understanding. That's why I pride myself on being a good agent. In this industry, we have a hard market and a soft market.
Well, tell me, what's that
A
about?
hard market is when insurance companies say, you got a speeding ticket. I don't really know if I want you.
Oh, my God.
How many miles over were you going in that speeding ticket? And then maybe not only you have a speeding ticket, you only have one speed, but now you got a 16-year-old driver. So that 16-year-old driver mimics you. We got a trail of bad history. We don't want the risk. Put it somewhere else. Let's see what they do over the next couple years.
And then come back.
Yes. And so
Okay.
people don't understand how that works. And so in my world, I've got to try to make a square peg fit in a round hole, and then I figure out they're just not going to fit.
Jeez.
You're going to pay more until you figure it out. And so in a hard market, insurance companies are hard. They play hard.
Oh, my God.
But now the market is soft because there's so much competition.
Yes.
You know, you can buy insurance at 1 o'clock in the morning. You can go on a
Internet,
website.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you
can
can.
call a big, what we call a direct carrier where there's no agents. You just call a number and get a policy. You need an ID card by in the morning when you go to court and all that. We can't do, I'm not going to do that.
And why would you?
Because people want it. You can do anything on the internet. You can pay your bills online at 3 in the morning.
Right.
So that's the society that we live in. And so you can buy insurance at your bank, at Walmart. I mean, you know, it's a transaction.
Right.
But what happens is when people need that coverage,
Oh, my God.
and they find out, you mean I didn't have coverage for this car I rented? Then they wish they had an agent.
Right.
Because then they know there had been conversation about it. So in a soft market, there's a lot of competition. If you turn on the TV during daytime, nighttime, you're bombarded with commercials.
Right.
So it's a softer market. But what happens, those companies will get a lot of clients.
Oh,
We call it buying business.
Okay.
They might lower their rates in a certain city or county where claims are low. They get the business. 2 or 3 years later, they just raise the rates. Because now they want to squeeze some of it back out.
Right.
So, and it is a game. So as an agent, you have to stay the course.
Well, I'm glad you're talking openly about this, because I know for myself, I absolutely believe that people that buy insurance on internet are asking for it.
Yeah.
And the reason they're asking for it is because agents have to go through exams, continuing ed. You're in the marketplace dealing with all kinds of scenarios, and you as a broker, you know the challenges of placement. And it's not a point and click. It really is finding a good match for that person's profile.
And everybody that answers a phone, if they sell a policy, if it's one of your Geico's or USAA or Safe Auto, they're licensed.
Right.
But they don't advise.
No, and
they don't consult.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to say, well, Mr. So-and-so, you own a dry cleaners, you own your home, you have a rental property, you have a kid in college, you really need more insurance. They're going to take the order. And so you either need to know what you want, or you're just going to get what you've always had.
Right.
There's no consulting in that call. And the more you have, the more you have to lose. So I see it a lot. I see business owners with very small limits of liability, and I'm thinking, and I'll say it to them, do you know what would happen if you have an accident? You slide on ice. It's a rainy day.
Yeah.
There was really no way for you to avoid that accident, but you're still at fault because cars don't drive themselves.
No, they don't.
And so you hit a young mom, and she's pregnant, carrying a child.
Oh, God.
These are this is what really happens. And we had a case in Columbus. She delivered early because of the impact of this collision. Baby's fine.
Good.
But that's an open claim until that child turns 18 because she delivered prematurely from the impact of a car collision. And this guy said, I should have had an umbrella.
He should have had an umbrella.
You always stand more to lose, usually.
Oh, my gosh.
So the more you have to lose, the better your coverages need to be. And you don't get consulted like that. I have people call, my vehicle's 10 years old. Should I carry full coverage or liability? And so then I sit down and we do the test. We see what the book value is of the car. Let's see what the parts cost for the car. So I know you don't get that when you dial an 800 number.
You can.
You get a policy.
And I'm going to be candid with you. I have a very reputable company now, but they never asked me any of these questions.
I ask everything.
That is so amazing. I think I'm going to have to make a change after this show. I'm serious.
I ask everything.
I'm like, you kidding me? I've never had a claim. I've never had an accident. Although I was almost in a serious accident on the program before this one, the show before this one, where I was trying to get to the station and a truck didn't see me. And he just swiped. I mean, literally, I was screaming and squirreling, and I don't know who would have been liable because he was probably heading to Detroit.
And he would have kept going.
He would have kept going.
It happens all the time.
Oh, my gosh. And who's at fault with that?
Well, your company is going to say you were not at fault, but they're
Okay,
still going to pay
however-
the claim under collision.
Okay.
And sometimes people carry a higher collision deductible than they do a comprehensive deductible. So you don't get it really deemed as still maybe not at fault. If you can prove what happened, and you got to be able to prove that this truck almost ran you off the road. So it's a lot to it. Ambulance and city vehicles and city transportation, you know, people tend to think, well, I'm going to let that RTA bus hit me, or I'm going to let them hit me so I can get paid. No, you don't get paid.
You don't
Absolutely
get
not.
paid,
The insurance company,
LaRonda.
it's called indemnity. The insurance companies have an agreement worked out with any local government, any local transportation. A city truck is dumping some dirt or something, and your car gets crushed. Your insurance company has to pay it, and it's a claim on your record. It's not at fault.
But it's
But
still
you're
a
not,
claim on
you're
your
not
record.
going to reap the benefits and all this. I'm going to get paid. I always teach people that. School buses have accidents. Your insurance company always has to come to bat.
Oh, my word.
The only damage they
Even
face
if
is
they're
your
at fault.
deductible. Even if they're at fault, they'll pay your deductible, and that's it.
They'll pay your deductible.
And they
that
can
is
clearly
it.
be at fault. So get out of the way. I usually tell people, get out of
Move
the way.
out the way.
Yeah.
So let me just to restate what situation, school buses,
Yes.
city,
Ambulance, city trucks.
city anything,
Yes.
government anything,
Yes.
dump trucks,
Exactly. Exactly.
move over buster,
Move.
over
And
buster.
people don't know that, but they find out.
Oh, yeah, they do find
Yeah,
out.
they do find out.
Yeah, it was just like I had a gentleman on talking about personal injury, one of the top attorneys in this country, and he was talking about how hard it is to get money. That when you can be legitimately injured, but how difficult it is, and that people need to come off of it because it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It does not work like that at all. You're not going to get greedy at the finish line.
Correct.
You want to be out of harm's way. So if you got to swerve to avoid, you need to swerve to avoid.
Why never walk again?
Why not?
Because you wanted a check for $10,000.
Why
Right.
never walk again?
Right.
Isn't that so? Would you turn this to the camera, please? Why never walk again? Because the bus hit you.
Yes.
You need to go move.
Yes.
Oh, this is good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Not that I'm interested in
No,
getting hit by a truck or a
it's
bus.
all the time. School buses will have an accident, or city buses.
Yes.
You know, people paying ride to work.
Right.
You're not going to win. It doesn't matter if they are at fault. They're going to pay your deductible, and then your insurance is going to pay your claim.
Oh my gosh. So what happens just as what type of insurance, is that up under automobile?
Correct.
So
Yes.
if you have, let's take a situation where if a young person is hit by a bus, the bus doesn't see him and he hits them, and are they up under their parents' insurance, or how does
Yes,
that
wherever
work?
they're insured.
Okay.
In the state of Ohio, insurance follows the vehicle. And I have to teach
Insurance
that.
Tell me what
I
that's
have
about.
to teach that. That
LaRonda,
means,
this is amazing.
oh my gosh.
Oh
I
my
have to
God.
let people know that. Because people think they can just borrow somebody's car and, well, that's my aunt, and that's my mom, and that's my... You need to find out what your company says, but Ohio law says insurance follows the vehicle. So if I loan you my car and you run to the mall, you're going to be covered in the event you have an accident by my insurance.
And if you're at fault,
Correct.
it's against your insurance.
Correct. Insurance follows the vehicle. So there have been times when someone's borrowed a car,
Yes.
didn't know the person hadn't made that payment.
Oh, no, no,
and
no.
that the policy had lapsed.
Oh,
and then
no,
they
no,
say,
no.
well, I've got insurance on my car, but you weren't driving your car. You were driving their car.
Their car.
Yes. You risk losing your
LaRonda.
license. You risk losing your license.
Oh, my. The person that owns the vehicle
The
risks
person-
losing their license?
And the person that was driving.
Two
They
people?
expect you to know. Why would you drive someone's car and you don't know their story?
Ah.
Yes.
Ah.
I get calls every day.
LaRonda, I'm getting ready to start fanning.
I get a call every day
I'm good.
about people loaning out cars, and friendships end because
Oh,
you
no,
let
a
your best
friendship
friend
would
drive,
definitely
and
end.
you let your best friend drive, and they had an accident, and you had $1,000 deductible, and your friend doesn't have $1,000, so your car doesn't get fixed.
Oh, no. Oh
Yes.
my God.
Insurance follows the vehicle. I spend a lot of time teaching.
Follows the vehicle.
Correct. It doesn't follow the driver.
Consumers, did you hear that? Insurance follows the vehicle.
Yes.
So keep your little crazy grandkids out of your car.
Well, you can let your crazy grandkids drive.
Okay.
But you are financially responsible.
But who can afford that?
Exactly.
Who can?
And then you didn't know your grandchild had a little bit of a situation.
Oh, girl, do we
and
not
so
use
then
the term,
you let
a
them
little
drive.
bit of a situation?
You let them drive. Your insurance company, if they're a reputable company,
yes.
they're going to pay the claim.
Fine.
But then they're going to call you and say, so why'd you let them drive? You didn't know he hadn't made child support in about 6 months and his license was being held.
Oh, no.
You'd be surprised. I see it all.
All the time.
I see it all. I do.
Oh, my God.
Or states, your kid graduates from college, they went to Michigan to school, and now they're in Ohio. And you just say, we're going to keep the car. They're done with school. Graduation's over.
Okay.
Well, technically, they need to be insuring the vehicle in the state they reside in. But people just think, oh, well, I'm paying for it. It's in my name. But the car is garaged in Michigan, and they are no longer a student. We care where that car is garaged.
So where would they need to carry insurance? In Michigan?
In the state of Michigan.
In the state of Michigan.
Correct.
And would the child be the owner of the vehicle?
They need to get the vehicle retitled. You just can't let them have it there 5 or 10 years and they reside in a whole different state. All of that's wrong.
I don't think
it's
people
all
know
wrong.
these
I have
things.
clients that will move to Georgia and they still carry Ohio driver's license. It's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely illegal. People
Isn't it a 30-day? I think it's
yes,
like 30
it's
days.
30 days.
And then you better be where you better
but
be.
But they're not. I see it all. They've been in Ohio 10 and 15 years with an Illinois driver's license or Indiana. And I'm like, did you know this was illegal? But they go back to their state and renew the license, so I know they know.
Then they definitely do know. So at the point that they are in some type of an accident,
that's when it all comes crashing
That's when
down.
it all comes crashing
Yes.
down. They wind up, what are the penalties? They lose their license?
Or their insurance company may say, we're not paying that claim.
Oh my goodness.
Full disclosure, we're not going to pay the claim.
We're not paying the claim.
So now you have a $20,000 car accident. Oh well, I hope you have $20,000 in your checking account. And if you don't, we'll come for your assets or we'll garnish your wages.
Oh,
full disclosure.
Goodness.
Yes.
LaRonda.
Yes.
This is unbelievable.
And people don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So that's why the agent has to say, let me explain to you what you don't know.
LaRonda, I am not kidding you. Yes. After this show, I'm going to have a powwow with you.
Okay.
Because I am telling you, in all the years I have been with a very large, nationally reputed insurance casualty company with the name state, I've never had any of this told to me. I look at the declaration page, and like I tell people, and they say, well, you're supposed to know this. I said, wait a minute.
No, that's not
How
what
would I supposed to know? I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who do other things,
exactly.
and that's their job.
Exactly.
But the biggest fallacy out here today is to think you know everything, particularly as it relates to money and finance and insurance. There is so much we don't know.
I get everything in writing. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. And so I have clients that don't listen. If they don't listen, I don't even want them.
No. Why would you?
Because I want to be your advisor. So if you can't trust what I say to be a fact in the world of insurance, then go somewhere where you can trust. But I just had this conversation last week. I have a client, he has a teenager driving, and he wanted lower rates. And I said, you're not a great risk. And he was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
We pay on time. I said, you've got some claims. You've got some at faults, some not at faults. You and your wife both have some violations. And now you bring in a teenage driver. And he's not an occasional driver. He's a primary driver. Because there's three drivers, 3 vehicles. Everybody's primary.
Because
no one has to sit on the couch and wait for somebody to get home before they get a chance to leave. Everybody
and is that
has
the basis
equal
for
access.
the primary designation?
And occasional, absolutely.
Because I'll tell you something. My mother was just named primary driver. They have a truck, and then they have a a luxury car.
Okay.
They're seniors retired. She doesn't drive anywhere. She's a prima donna. She's not driving anywhere.
Okay.
And they named her as a primary driver. And she had I just had this conversation with her over dinner last night. And she said, I told them I don't drive.
But does she have a license?
Yes.
Well, then if she didn't drive, she would send her license back to the state and say, I don't want to drive. Send me a state ID.
Oh, my God.
As long as you keep the driver's license in your wallet, you're a risk.
I did not.
And we're going to rate for you.
And we're going to rate for you.
Or if you don't intend to drive, why would you keep your license?
Well, I think people do it out of tradition, maybe.
Right, but to the insurance company, you may just today get up and say, I think I'm going to drive.
I'm going to try.
He's not ready yet. I think I'm ready to go to the grocery, and I'll be right back, and I'm going to do it.
And there you go.
Exactly. So you are either driving or you're not. There's no middle.
So if you're not driving, that driver's license needs to be turned in, and you get a state ID.
And that's a tough day, especially for my seniors that are men, because that's their independence. And so I've had this happen multiple times where I've had to sit down with a family, and they want me to break it to Dad that he needs to no longer drive.
Whoa.
Yes.
You need to proceed with caution.
Exactly. But it's business. You know, people have strokes, they have medical conditions, and they're not maybe the best driver right now. And then they confide in me about the stroke, and then I'm sitting there from like an agent, like, oh my God,
this is an underwriting. Oh no, too much information.
Yes, but you're a risk, and why would you want to risk all these other people when you really know you're really not feeling your best right now?
Well, I think that there is a tendency among humans, I think this is a human thing, where people never ever think about those kind of things. They don't think about dying.
No.
I mean, I'm nothing personal, but you are leaving this earth somewhere.
You have an appointment at a destination. We don't know when, but
we're all going down that little road, and people don't like to think bad things are going to happen to them. It's very difficult for humans to frame that in a way that works.
It's always going to be the other person.
Always.
Yeah. And I have this conversation regularly, usually with adding a teenage driver or spouses. Now the husband has gotten a couple tickets, or the wife's got a driving record that's adverse. And so they're like, well, take her off. Well, no, we don't split spouses.
Right.
You can take off a kid, a domestic partner. You cannot take off a legal spouse.
You cannot take off a wife or a husband.
No.
Even as long as if you're
reside
separate
in the same household, you're on that policy.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because in the eyes of the courts, you all are one.
That is amazing.
I have that I probably lose several clients because they want to leave a driver off, and I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Oh.
Well, so-and-so did it. I said, well, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, no, but you're not going to put yourself at risk.
And
not
then when you get to court, they investigate.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there's an investigation when you say, I live here, but I don't really live over there, or I have a car over here, or my son has a car in Minnesota. It's in my name, but I'm letting him drive it.
Stop. It's getting worse.
No, there's an investigation. They interview neighbors.
Jeez.
It's a sworn deposition. It's called insurance fraud.
Oh, God.
And they say, well, how long has your neighbor had this Ford Taurus? Oh, at least 5 or 10 years. And you told them 5 months.
Well, you're lying.
Yes.
At the point you're lying.
And why do that?
Why?
There is a way to insure every risk.
Well, because time, believe it or not, time is almost up.
Okay.
I just saw my producer come out.
Okay.
Why does insurance have to go up when you file a claim?
It doesn't have to go up when you file a claim. It's going to go up based on frequency. And I explain this over and over again. Insurance companies don't want to be nickeled and dimed for every bad day that you have.
Okay.
Someone hit your rear view mirror. You're going to file a claim. Somebody did this. Somebody took your lawnmower. Insurance is really supposed to be used for catastrophic events, something you cannot bounce back from.
Right.
You cannot bounce back sometimes from a kitchen fire.
Right.
You can't bounce back from totaling somebody's vehicle that was a $30,000 automobile.
Okay.
It's not to be used because somebody dented your door and it's $900, because that's when it's going to raise. And I tell my small businesses that too, because you start off as a nail salon, and now you do eyebrows, and now you're doing hair, and now you're a day spa. No, insurance doesn't work like that.
So as you go into different venues,
you have to have a coverage
you
that
have
goes
to
there
make,
with you.
Okay.
Yes.
I just got a note my producer said. Is that right, Ben? We have 20 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Can I
it.
get a tissue?
No, no. Let me
Okay.
see if I have.
I have some in my purse. I
Well,
just didn't know
just
if I
go
could
on
reach
and
over.
this is a very
Okay.
common show. If you need a
Okay.
tissue, you
These
get a
spring
tissue.
allergies.
Allergies are real, and I think our viewers are
Okay.
understand that. Everybody's
Okay.
sneezing right now. This has been a record year.
Yes.
So, if you don't want to be nickeled and dimed, then the best thing is just to file a claim when there has been an major accident
Something huge.
or something huge. The
$500. It's because what happens, your first claim, you don't normally see anything change with your rates.
Okay.
A lot of these companies have what we call loss forgiveness or accident forgiveness.
Okay, I see it.
But you got to be with them a minute. You
Okay.
can't come in the door filing a bunch of claims.
Okay.
And I have this conversation. Well, I paid into it, and that's what I want to get back out of it.
Excuse me.
I just explained.
No.
Keep it low. Frequency, because what they look at, they'll pay the claim, and then they'll send me a little note because I'm independent.
Yeah.
And they'll say, why do you think we should stay on this risk? Are they a good or bad risk? And then I'll look at the account. Okay, I've had this account 5 years. They've paid $4,000 in. We've paid out $14,000 in claims, and they've paid late 3 times and canceled, and I had to reinstate them. Bad risk. Yes.
LaRonda, do people do this?
Yes.
People do this kind of stuff?
Yes, absolutely. And I explained to them, stop letting the policy, you know, that you have till 12:01 to pay,
no.
and then you pay it the next day. Technically, you cancel.
Right.
So if they have to beg you for their money, and they've paid some claims, shame on you. And I have that candid conversation. I do not hold back.
But I think you have to have that candid
Yes.
conversation because they will cancel.
Yes. And then you can never say, I didn't know. Oh, you knew because I told you.
Yeah, you did because I told you.
I
I
made sure.
love this.
Yes.
I love you.
And I tell them at
You are
every appointment,
Awesome.
I take pride in you knowing the entire deal. I don't care if you haven't driven that car in 2 years. You registered it again. You went and got your little sticker for your birthday. You better keep liability coverage on it.
Now, what is liability coverage?
Liability means in the event that I put this car on the road and I injure someone, I am covered to pay for the accident. I am financially responsible. Now, if you don't want to buy auto insurance, like they just raised the coverage 2013.
Okay.
We've been carrying $12,500 in liability for years. That's not enough if somebody spent the day in the hospital.
It is not.
The emergency ride is $1,500.
Exactly.
You've got to pay to get their car towed. You've got to pay while they're off work if they come back against you for damages. So people are underinsured.
So who
It just
ultimately
changed to 25.
to 25,000?
Yes. So when
Okay.
you hit somebody and you hurt them, or there's 2 people in the car, what are you going to do?
Well, if I hit somebody and there's 2 people in the car, the expectation would be that my insurance carrier would settle the matter. That's how I'm thinking.
They will, but you need to make sure you have enough coverage.
Exactly, because we're in the area that you're underinsured. Say you only got 25,000, and I have a whole lot more than that. But in the event that you are undercovered, who ultimately pays for this?
Well, that other person's insurance, let's say they have great coverage.
Okay.
And you don't have so great coverage, but you're at fault. Their insurance will pay for it. And then they maintain the right to come back and garnish you to get all their money back.
Oh, my word.
Absolutely. And they look, that's the first thing they do is see if you're a property owner. That
so
is
they
the
can
first
seize
thing
that
that they
asset.
do. Exactly.
Oh, well, I will tell you, I was hit head-on by a truck
Okay.
in 2011. Yeah, it destroyed my Lexus and everything. Yeah, it's been an interesting story. Oh, it's okay. But they had a carrier that didn't have a lot. They didn't have a lot. They only had $5,000. And I had everything, but I was up under their coverage. So my insurance company was like, well, you know, nothing we can do because that's on them. And literally what they settled with me for to expedite the claim was a pittance. And the insurance company said, well, we can go on and fight on your behalf, but you still don't have a vehicle.
Right.
Because I was up under the other company's insurance. And I said, why do I have a Cadillac policy? And if I'm not at fault, I'm stuck with theirs. So your carrier many times does not necessarily have to come to your rescue.
Well, your agent, that whole story that you just described, and when that happens with my clients, I get in there and I battle. No other insurance company is going to treat my client like that. If you have a wreck with my client,
yes,
and my client will call me and say,
what
Miss
should I
Lucky,
do?
I was involved in an accident, and I say, well, let's see how their carrier responds. Were they insured? And they say yes. And I always say, who was the company? Because I already know if they're going to be slow to take care of it or if they're going to move expeditiously. And so they'll tell me the carrier, and I say, give them 48 hours. They may not call you today because that insurance company has to talk to their insured and make sure that the story happened the way that you said it did.
Yes.
And those claims are assigned. So on a windy, stormy weekend, you're not the only one that has been involved in an accident.
Yes.
So let's give it 48 hours. And they say, well, I don't have a car.
Exactly.
How do I get to work tomorrow? And I say, is your car drivable? No, it was towed. It's sitting over at the tow yard. And I say, well, you're going to have to go to your rainy day fund. Keep the receipt. You should have $30 where you can go rent a car. Just keep the receipt. We'll get that money back for you. That driver had to have been at fault. Right now, we're all taking your word. There's not even a police report filed yet.
Right.
So everything doesn't move as quickly as sometimes drivers think that it does.
Right.
So now this other insurance company comes back and they're nickel and diming my client, or they don't want to give them fair value for their car, or whatever happens. I will make a phone call. I will make the call. Oh, yeah.
I love you, Miss
I will
Lucky.
make the call. I want to know what's going on and why my client doesn't have their car yet. And I take care of the claimant. If my client causes an accident, I'm on the phone, I'm with that person, I take good care of them. I've won them over as clients before because they like the treatment.
Well, I will tell you, and that because it is an absolute true story, I have never, ever, ever had an accident where I was ever at fault.
That's a blessing.
I never have, but it has. But I have watched how this industry works, and as I said, when my car was completely destroyed, and I had rental. If I were at fault, I had rental car. These people didn't have rental.
They had it's all paid under liability.
It was all liability, and it wasn't anything. I think, like I said, $5,000.
Yes.
Yes, end of story. And my company was backpedaling, like, oh, well, you need, you're self-employed, you need to get your stuff together, you need to rent a car, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, would somebody talk to me?
Exactly.
Would somebody tell me
That's
what
where
to
your
do?
agent makes all the difference in the world. I know for a fact I make all the difference for my clients.
Yes, you do.
I know that for a fact.
Because I'm telling you, it was absolutely frightening. And because when you own your own companies, you don't want to be in a hospital. I tell folks the only people that do hospitals are people that work for people on jobs, people that have their own companies and are running their own ships. We don't want to be in a hospital. Are you kidding me? How do I make money and I'm in a hospital? So you make those shifts, and retrospectively, you're like, how could this have been done differently? And I'm so glad you're my guest.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
I'm just amazed.
I spend every day letting people know that if you make the decision to allow someone to drive your vehicle and anything happens, they might get hit by someone else. If they're a household resident, you are out of order and you can be canceled by your company.
Tell me that again.
If they're a household resident,
they live in the house.
If they live with you
and they're not on the insurance,
and they're not on your policy, and you let them drive, you're wrong. If they're in town for the weekend, it's graduation time.
Yes, we are.
They came to see your child graduate, you can let them drive. A household resident, you just change the whole risk. Everything is about risk and hazard.
So what's the difference between a person who resides in your home and a person that's just coming in for...
Because they have access. It's all about access.
Jeez.
In the insurance world, it's all about the risk. Right now, Bob Evans is a family restaurant.
Exactly.
If they start serving martinis, they just change the risk. Everything is about risk. How much of a hazard do you present? When I go out and look at a home and that last step is broken or cracked, you just change the risk.
Oh, my words.
You just change the risk. So everything is about risk.
Dog owners.
My painters. Yeah, dog owners.
Yeah.
Right now you
dog
have
has
a poodle.
teeth. Yeah,
yes,
he's got teeth.
I take the original application, and when we do a quote, we ask, do you have any pets?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, what kind of pet do you have? I have a dog. What kind of dog is it? I don't know. It's a mutt. Well, what does it look like it is? What does it
Give me a
have
picture.
mostly? Exactly. Because if it falls on the vicious dog list, and everybody loves little poodle and little Snoopy, and he wouldn't bite, he would.
He got teeth.
So it's based on history.
Right.
So some dogs have more of a bite history. Insurance companies want to insure you. They won't exclude dog bites. They don't even want to be bothered.
They just say no.
Because they know the right attorney and the right judge is going to look past the exclusion, and they're going to have to pay that claim.
Woo.
Yes.
Now, time is almost up. I need to cover business owners. Do you deal with business owners?
Yes, I do.
Is that your niche, or you just deal with them as a general practitioner?
They're just one of them. They're not my niche. I like to write more commercial line insurance. What I stress to them is you have to disclose to me. Tell me what you're doing.
Yeah, everything
So I'll
you're
have an electrician who knows a little bit about plumbing. Well, I wrote you as an electrician. If you start plumbing work, you got to let me know that.
Right.
Because if you install something incorrectly and you flood someone's house, they don't have to pay the claim because you weren't doing electrical work.
Oh, my word.
So sometimes when business gets slow, business owners start thinking, well, let me do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn my restaurant into a disco.
Right.
Well, guess what? Now you're a tavern.
Oh, my God. Different designation.
Every time you do something different, you have to let them know they do not have to pay the claim. I had a gentleman, one of my painting contractors.
Okay.
I said, well, how many stories high do you go? You're doing internal painting, external painting, indoor, outdoor. He says, I don't go over 2 stories. So I get a call one evening.
No.
About 5:30 p.m. from a office manager.
Yes.
That 52 cars had been painted by that nice teal blue color where he was painting a water tower on a windy day, and he covered like 52 vehicles.
No.
Yes. Now, I think you were more than 2 stories high.
I think you were a little bit higher than you said.
Absolutely. Thank
Claim
God
denied.
those cars could be washed.
Yes.
They didn't have to all be painted.
Yes.
The claim was paid, and I canceled his coverage. Yes.
Give us your phone number.
Yes. I canceled his coverage.
Give us your phone number.
937-222-5884.
And you have a website.
Yes. It's www.lflinsurance.com.
Or they can always type up LaRonda Lucky.
Yes,
that's
they
what
can.
I did.
I'm out there.
Type it
I'm
up. You're out there, and I'm like, whoa, look at LaRonda.
And I'll speak. I'll talk to classrooms.
Oh my gosh.
I'll talk to groups. I go to churches. Let them know, look, you've got to fix this, or this is a risk right here.
But you know what? Being an adult is so complicated.
Yes.
And it's getting more complicated.
Yes.
It just is, and that's
but
why I do this show.
Can hurt you.
Yes.
Yes.
Camera, please. Time's up. Yep. Went like a jet, didn't it? I told you she's extraordinary. And you know what? I'm getting ready to talk to her because I'm getting ready to make a change. I am so serious.
Yeah.
I've seen some things, and I can't even talk about it on television without just
Your
acting
agent,
crazy.
The agent makes all the difference.
The agent makes all the difference.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. Hope you've enjoyed today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, the Money Lady, closing out as always every week with peace to you, life to you, and abundant love to you. May God bless you. See you next time. You take care.